I am here with two of the stars of The Lifeguard. You might recognize these faces. I'm sure you do. Kristen and Mamie. Great film. It's a lot of female. I was excited to see that the female writer-director, I didn't know whether this was part of her story or not, but I love this character and your character and the relationship of the two girls. Two women, I should say, right, on the cusp of real adulthood. I mean, you're adults, but really kind of making that transition. Mm-hmm. I call it like the tunnel from your late. Neither one of you are 30 yet, are you?
Oh, yeah.
You are?
Oh, jeez, Louise.
Okay.
This is so flattering, the whole thing.
Not quite, right? Yeah, not quite. Anyway, so what the movie is basically you're type A, successful, valedictorian, beautiful, Manhattan's your oyster. You're a journalist, shout out, AP, right?
Yes.
And you kind of have an incident or like the affair, basically, your feelings.
Well, the life isn't turning out like
Right.
I thought it was. That my character Lee seemed to have, she seemed to peak in high school. She was valedictorian, had the world ahead of her, and then moved to New York, became a journalist, and has been making a series of unhappy decisions since then. It's, to mostly the fault of her own. If you're dating a guy
Right.
that's dating someone else, you're probably not going to be the winner in the situation.
Yeah.
So there's some obvious parts of it, and then some other parts where she can't control it. She's just not living the satisfying life that she thought she would. So in all of us, I think there's that tiny voice that tells you, oh, things were only perfect when, and it's this sort of very much revisionist history of this fantasy when everything was great, and for her it was high school, and so she honestly feels as though if she can create the circumstances of high school, meaning she'll move back home in with her parents, she'll get her summer job as a lifeguard, she'll sort of start to act out. And most of this is happening just subconsciously. Then things will be all well with the world, and kind of drags her friends down with her. But it's, really about the coming of age, how adolescence has been stretched almost well into our 30s now for our generation, or it can be stretched.
What about this script spoke to both of you to want to do it? And was it the first time you met each other? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
Thankfully. It was the project that brought us together.
I personally related to it so much because I grew up in that town.
You did? Oh, yes, in
in
Connecticut,
a
that's
small
right.
town in Connecticut that I definitely, idealize and return to often when in times of crisis or just on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Just leave New York City. And so I definitely could relate to that. And it was just such a great script, and meeting Liz and learning more about what she wanted to do with it. And it was inspiring. It was great.
I was attracted, I think, to the role because I like people who are in transitional phases. I think there's a lot to play with, and Lee's going through such a metamorphosis and is so wildly stubborn in her decision making that I just thought it was very
That was great. You were
interesting.
really, really good in it as well. You're so good in it. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I
Thanks.
guess. I mean, we could
Thanks
talk
for
about a
having
lot
us.
of
I
things.
know.